Two abreast, please. Line up two abreast. You can walk now. Two by two, please. Line up two by two.
Line up two by two. Find a partner.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise or remain standing and welcome the alumni marshals of the Rotunda Passage. They have returned to SMU, their alma mater, to welcome you, the 2018 entering class. They guided you through Dallas Hall, past the flag of the United States, the flags of the states of this union, and the flags of the homelands of many of our international students. These flags acknowledge the fact that even though you come from different places, you are now here, and you are now all Mustangs. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and greet representatives of your faculty, the faculty of Southern Methodist University. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and welcome the platform party and President R. Gerald Turner, the 10th President of Southern Methodist University.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Corral, and I'm privileged to serve as SMU's Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. And I'm delighted to welcome you to the 104th Opening Convocation of Southern Methodist University. Yeah. Betty McCone, Assistant Chaplain and Coordinator of Religious Life, will give our invocation. Please remain standing.
Merciful and holy God, we gather to mark this important moment as the entering class of 2018 officially joins us. Now begins a journey of discernment and discovery, learning who we are and how we fit into your great creation, learning ever more clearly how to love our neighbors as ourselves, gaining greater vision of the good we can do in the world. We're grateful for all those who have walked with us thus far, for those who have guided and taught us, for those who have encouraged and prodded us, for those who have helped us back on our feet when we stumbled, and who celebrated with us the joy of our achievements. And now we turn our eyes toward this new school year. Bless our gathering of new students. We look forward to what we will learn together. And bless, O Lord, the SMU community that will form this year. By your grace, we embrace the challenges the year will bring, knowing with confidence that we live under the guidance of your good hand. Amen.
Please be seated. I want to extend a warm welcome to all of you, to our new first-year students and our transfer students, to the parents, partners, family, and friends of our students, and also to our faculty and retired faculty, to our administrators and staff and special guests and our alumni. I also welcome those who are watching this special event online from around the world. It is appropriate that you have marched through historic Dallas Hall, the first building on campus, as part of your passage, your entrance rite. As you came out of Dallas Hall, you were greeted by student leaders and Peruna, our university mascot, and you were led into convocation by representatives of the faculty and student members of Phi Beta Kappa, whose presence symbolizes our mission of academic excellence. Would the Phi Beta Kappa delegation please stand to be recognized? Thank you. I also wish to acknowledge the presence today of the alumni marshals who guided you, the entering class, in the Rotunda Passage. These alumni are parents of entering students who have participated in today's Rotunda Passage. We're always delighted to have them back on campus and are especially pleased that they are here today to guide the newest members of the SMU community. These alumni symbolize the continuity of our community, a community made up of all who have been here and all who are here now. Will the alumni marshals please stand? Join me in thanking them. Thank you, alumni marshals. To our new students, we're honored to formally welcome you into the SMU family. It's appropriate that we gather in McFarland Auditorium, a beautiful and historic place on occasions such as this convocation. At this time and in this place, we join those who preceded us, and in so doing, make our own distinct contribution to this great university. The spirited processional music of Imperial Brass reminds us that this place and this moment are very special. At this time, I want to recognize certain members of today's platform party. I'll ask these individuals to stand when introduced and remain standing. Please hold your applause until all the introductions are made. Representing SMU's Board of Trustees today are Robert Dedman, Chair of the Board of Trustees, R. Gerald Turner, 10th President of Southern Methodist University, and Dana Osherwitz, President of the SMU Faculty Senate. Vice Presidents of the university in attendance are Brad Cheeves, Vice President for Development and External Affairs, Casey Majay, Vice President for Student Affairs, Harold Stanley, Vice President for Executive Affairs, and academic deans and directors representing their schools and areas include Evelyn Ashley, Dean of Students ad interim, Gary Brubaker, Director of the Guildhall at SMU, Mark Christensen, Dean of the Lyle School of Engineering, Jennifer Collins, Dean of the Dedman School of Law, Thomas DiPiero, Dean of Dedman College of Humanities and Sciences, and our convocation speaker, Samuel Holland, Dean of the Meadows School of the Arts, Holly Jeffcoat, Dean of SMU Libraries, Stephanie Knight, Dean of the Annette Caldwell Simmons School of Education and Human Development, Matthew Myers, Dean of the Edwin L. Cox School of Business, James Quick, Associate Vice President for Research and Dean of Graduate Studies. And lastly, other members on the stage include Barbara Hill Moore, Platform Party Marshal, and Jill McInnes, President of the SMU Staff Association. Please greet these individuals with your applause. Now, as we proceed through the convocation, other members of the platform party will be introduced. I also wish to recognize my colleagues from the President's and the Provost's office, plus other individuals who make important contributions to the institution. Again, I'll ask each person to stand when introduced and remain standing, and ask that you hold your applause until all are introduced. Rick Hart, Director of Athletics. Michael Heitz, Chief Information Officer. Kathleen Hughley-Cook, Director for National Fellowships and Awards. Sherry Kunovich, Associate Provost for Student Academic Engagement and Success. Lorenda Melke, Associate Provost for Continuing Education. Douglas Reinelt, Associate Provost for Faculty Affairs. Michael Tumio, Director for Institutional Research. And Wes Wagner, Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management. And I also wish to recognize one other important member of the SMU community in the audience today, SMU trustee Richard Ware. Thank you all for being here. Now please greet these individuals with your applause. Throughout its history, SMU has been served by distinguished faculty who are deeply devoted to you, our students. Our faculty are the intellectual lifeblood of the university. So it is with great pride and pleasure that I ask the faculty, emeriti, and faculty in service to now stand. Please join me in recognizing our colleagues. And in our faculty delegation this afternoon, I'm happy to acknowledge the newest members of our faculty who have been educated at many of the world's greatest institutions of higher education, and I would ask that the new faculty members stand for a special welcome as well. Students, as you entered the auditorium, you were led by the faculty in residence for your residential commons, who signed the opening convocation registry to record your participation in this ceremony and your membership in one of SMU's 11 residential commons. This registry is part of the university archives and begins the record of your membership in the SMU community. Will the faculty in residence please stand and be acknowledged? At this time, I'm pleased to welcome members of the platform party who are here to greet you. First, I will call forward Robert Dedman, Chair of the SMU Board of Trustees. Following Mr. Dedman, we will hear from Professor Dana Osherwitz, President of the SMU Faculty Senate, and Mr. Nathan DeVera, President of the SMU Student Body. Mr. Dedman?
Thank you, Provost Corral. On behalf of the SMU Board of Trustees, I want to extend a warm welcome to each of you in joining the SMU community. You're in a special place at a special time, and we are delighted you are here. The mission of the Board of Trustees is to advance SMU's academic progress as one of the leading teaching and research universities in the world. We endeavor to make strategic decisions to provide you with the highest quality education and campus experience. As a graduate of both the Cox MBA program and the Dedman School of Law, I experienced firsthand the incredible opportunities that SMU offers its students. Our family has earned 8 degrees thus far from SMU. During your time here, you will find many opportunities to grow as an individual, as a leader, and as professionals. You may participate in research that is addressing some of the world's most pressing challenges. You may be influenced by SMU's entrepreneurial and enterprising spirit and create something new. 2 great examples of that are Blake Mikowski, who started Tom Shoes, that I'm sure some of you will probably have, and Whitney Wolf was the founder of the social app Bumble. So you can explore the vibrant city of Dallas that we're in the middle of through internships and service projects, and then you can explore the world through SMU Abroad. One of the special things about the Hilltop is that it brings people together. People from different backgrounds, people from different cultures, and at times, people with opposing views. SMU has developed a new initiative called Cultural Intelligence that emphasizes greater diversity of both people and thought, as well as inclusivity at the same time. By better appreciating our preconceived notions of each other, we believe it will foster an environment of greater understanding, increased creativity, and more innovation, and that's what we all want at SMU. I would like to leave you with two pieces of advice. The first was from my father, who often told me, "This life is not a dress rehearsal, so make every day count." And the second is one of the most profound quotes I've ever read, and it was by John Wesley, the founder of Methodism. And he said, "Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can." So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, welcome to SMU and pony up.
Hello. The poet Rumi once wrote, "Two there are who are never satisfied, the lover of the world and the lover of knowledge." This quote seems to contrast knowledge, both intellectual and spiritual knowledge, and an interest in the world. Thus, Rumi appears to suggest that the path to knowledge involves turning away from the world. Sufism, however, which informs Rumi's writing, is built around non-dualities and not dichotomies, and it does not accept that there exists a division between the physical and the spiritual, nor does it regard knowledge as separate from the world. Sufism holds, in fact, that the physical world and the spiritual realm touch one another, and it also holds that the only path to enlightenment is a path through the world. Therefore, I would suggest that the real meaning of Rumi's quote is that those who choose knowledge over the world, or the world over knowledge, fail to understand that these two things are inseparable, and that to try to pursue one without the other is to fail. This afternoon, you take your first steps into the SMU community. This is a place where knowledge and the world are deeply intertwined. As you begin your journey, I would urge you to remember Rumi's words, and to pursue knowledge, not for the sake of a grade, I know that's hard, but try, or a requirement, or a future paycheck, but for the sake of expanding knowledge and self-knowledge and becoming closer to the world. Take courses in history or literature or religious studies, master a second or a third language, study abroad. Moreover, don't be satisfied with knowledge. Look for ways to act upon the world. Get involved in the SMU community or the city of Dallas. Do an internship or an engaged learning project. Participate in alternative spring break. If you start and continue your time at SMU in pursuit of knowledge of self and the world, you will leave here as an integrated person, what we call a world changer, ready for the challenges that the world will inevitably bring you. On behalf of the faculty, I wish you success on your journey to becoming world changers. Know that we are here to guide and support you. And we, like those in Rumi's quote, will not be satisfied until we see your pursuit of knowledge lead you 4 years from now into the world to fulfill your destiny as Mustangs. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nathan DeVera, and I'm serving as your student body president for this year. It is so great to be back. Thank you. Wow, thank you. Goodness. Whew. Really helped me with the sweat. It is so great to be back on the hilltop, starting off another incredible year. I can't tell you how much I really genuinely miss this place, seriously. First-year students, transfer students, welcome. You are about to begin an incredible journey here at SMU for the next few years. And believe it or not, I, along with many of us here on stage, are really jealous of you, seriously. We all know Nike's classic slogan, right? Try to say it with me. Just do it. However, none of us can really define what that "it" is. and that's because it depends on the person. Everyone's path is unique, so not the Nike slogan. My advice to each of you is to run with it. That can mean whatever you want it to be. So, story time. 3 years ago, I was sitting where you are, listening to the student body president at the time, thinking, man, that could be really cool to do one day. And so I ran with it. Yes, you'll encounter some adversities throughout your growth during college, but we are all jealous of and truly excited for you all because you have endless opportunities at your fingertips that you can pursue at your own will and desire. Today, I have with me SMU's Howard Lantern. It is called the Howard Lantern because it is dedicated to the late Professor Emeritus Lauren Howard, Chief Marshal Emeritus of SMU. Each year during the May Baccalaureate service, this lantern is handed down by a senior to a representative of the junior class, a symbolic passing of the light that sustains our university. The Howard Lantern serves as a reminder for us today of the important traditions which make up our university life and the light of learning and intellectual curiosity which shines within the students, faculty, and staff of SMU. Congratulations for joining us on the hilltop. Soak up every second of every moment of your time here. Accomplish incredible feats like I know you will, and I plan to see you all running with it throughout your time at SMU. Thank you again, welcome, and pony up.
Well, thank you, Mr. Dedman, Professor Osherwitz, and Mr. DeVera. Now, we've welcomed you with some spoken words, but now we'll welcome you with music. We at SMU are very proud of our musical excellence, and we're pleased now to share with you the talents of the Meadows Convocation Chorus, who will now sing SMU Forever. This special musical piece is also performed at commencement. And the song was written by Jimmy Dunn, an SMU parent and songwriter who wanted to capture in words how fast the university experience would be for his daughter and the memories she would have after graduation. The chorus is directed by Professor Pamela Elrod Huffman, Associate Professor of Music and Director of Choral Activities in the Meadows School of the Arts.
SMU, you will always Thank you, Dr. Elrod Huffman and the Meadows Convocation Chorus, who, as you know, came together before classes began. So we truly thank you. And we look forward to having opportunities to get to know each of you over time. I like to go to one of the dining commons, and the dining commons, as we go around, sometimes with Dr. Maget and sometimes with Dr. Stanley and others, we'll come to your table. And coming to your table means that if there's room there, we might want to sit there and eat with you. Every student we've done that to has survived the experience. And you can too. In fact, we know that for some of them, we've increased their religiosity because as we come up, I hear them say, "Oh my God, don't let him sit here." May have been the first time for prayer for that day, but at least there was one beseeching that went on. And so we're delighted to have you here and look forward to having the opportunity to get to know you even more. Today's convocation is truly one of SMU's most time-honored traditions, as we gather each year to affirm the spirit of community that you will enjoy as students and later as alumni. The chair of our board, Bob Dedman, said it very well in terms of what we hope and expect for you during these 4 years. Our speaker today is someone many of you will know as Dean of Dedman College of Humanities and Sciences. But Thomas DiPiero just as easily could be described as a Renaissance person based on his academic credentials and his varied interests. Such a description also happens to fit nicely with Dedman College, the largest and most intellectually diverse of our academic units. As the dean often points out, Dedman College prepares its graduates to have the critical thinking skills that employers look for. In fact, a survey showed that 3/4 of recent employers would recommend a liberal arts education as the best way to prepare for success in today's rapidly changing global economy. Dedman College houses the humanities, social sciences, and mathematical and physical sciences. It's home to over 100 undergraduate majors and minors, 33 graduate programs leading to 15 PhD degrees, and nearly 320 faculty members. Dean DiPiero oversees the college's 16 academic departments and 14 programs, all that go around the campus in very real ways. The dean is also professor of world languages and literatures and of English. He came to SMU in 2014 from the University of Rochester, where he served as Dean of Humanities and Interdisciplinary Studies in the College of Arts and Sciences. He's placed particular emphasis on further developing the college's robust programs in the sciences, where faculty are unusually adept at mentoring undergraduate researchers and deploying them in many federally funded laboratories. If you like to do research, you have the opportunity at SMU. Dedman College also has signature strengths in politics, public policy, economics, and the study of human beings across time and space, including their past and present creations, whether these be physical, intellectual, or aesthetic. He earned a PhD and MA in Romance languages from Cornell, as well as an MA and BA from Ohio State University. Prior to coming to SMU, he also taught at the University of Rochester, Reed College in Portland, Oregon, and the University of Paris. Today, you'll enjoy hearing Dean DiPiero's perspective on how our capacities to think and reason provide us remarkable opportunities and at the same time, awesome responsibilities. So please join me in welcoming to the 2018 Convocation Speakers Podium, Dean DiPiero, Dean of Dedman College.
Thank you, President Turner, and let me be the next to welcome all of our new students and your family and friends to the SMU community. We're thrilled to have you here, and we promise you're going to have a great time. I wonder how many of you first-year students know that the world was gripped in a sort of numerological panic right around the time you were born. You see, as midnight, January 1st, 2000 approached, no one was quite sure what was going to happen. The panic was allegedly because our 20th century headlong embrace of technology wasn't especially forward-thinking. Most computer applications that did calculations based on dates had been storing those dates with 2 rather than 4 digits, that is, as 98 rather than as 1998. As the year 2000 approached, people began to wonder, what will happen when all those zeros line up and calculations no longer make sense? Will banks fail? Will power grids collapse? Might missiles be launched? No one knew, but there were actually people who were putting aside storehouses of food and water and stockpiling cash and, yes, weapons. You'll note I said the alleged reason for the hysteria was technology. That's because I'm pretty sure that the panic surrounding what we called Y2K was only partially caused by the technological anxieties. Why do I say this? Well, first, there is evidence to suggest that a similar deranged panic struck parts of Western Europe as the year 1000 approached. Somewhat more recently, but still before you were born, people used to love to witness their analog car odometers roll over to all zeros. It was a time for celebration, in fact. More recently still, we all got really excited just a few weeks ago when Apple became the first publicly traded company to hit the $1 trillion mark in market value. That was only a penny more than previously, but somehow it suddenly had more meanings. Human beings are pattern matchers. We are wired to seek out resemblances, note differences, and to analyze the evidence we collect. In fact, in the coming weeks and months and years, you'll note that in many, if not most of your classes, you're learning how to identify ever more sophisticated disciplinary patterns, whether they involve neural networks, the Spanish subjunctive, business processes, or text compression algorithms in computer science. But you have to wonder, despite the fact that human beings created the calendar system, they could still be reduced to panic when a bunch of zeros line up. For as reasonable as we think we are, one of two things seems responsible here. Either we're way more superstitious than we think, or, as P.T. Barnum opined, there's a sucker born every minute. I think both of those are at play here. When we're superstitious, we let our creations run wild with us. Finding meaningless patterns can lead us to the false conclusion that meaning inheres in things, the zeros, and not in us. The world out there is meaningless until we give it meaning through whatever moral, logical, ethical, aesthetic, or spiritual gauges we use to process the patterns we see. We need to understand our own system of reason and our own manners of assigning value to our observations. Consequently, values are inextricably intertwined with thought. You're here to train yourself not to see the zeros, not to be hoodwinked, and to understand how to make sense of the data you collect. Spot the fake news. My research and publications focus on the different ways in which European fiction in the 17th and 18th centuries articulated preoccupations, anxieties, and modes of knowing that were current in the culture at the time without contemporaries necessarily being able to be completely conscious of them. In other words, and to simplify drastically, people typically start to have a gut-level reaction to changes in the world order before they're able to articulate them rationally. Often, they come out in art forms first. Artists and philosophers take it as their life's work to be attuned to people's ways of thinking and creating and helping us understand what and through what mechanisms they mean. I'm going to assume you all know about René Descartes and his famous dictum, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. You probably also know that Descartes was trying to determine a way to figure out if there was anything at all about which one could be absolutely, positively certain. What he hit on was this: if I'm thinking, then I must be. That much is certain, that much is true. But what might not be obvious until you look carefully at his formulation is the fact that Descartes predicates being on thinking. In fact, he brings about an absolutely radical shift in the nature of truth. For 2,000 years before Descartes, truth was something handed down from religious authority, from political authority, from oral or written lore, whatever. People who would access the truth needed to go through all sorts of difficult cleansing and perfecting endeavors, as in a religion or secret society, to be prepared to receive the truth by conforming to and by becoming what the truth required of them. Descartes performed a total reversal. He put thinkers in charge of the truth. Thinkers had to train themselves not to conform to a received notion of the truth, but to reject everything uncertain until what was in front of them was undeniably true. The thinker becomes the origin and standard of truth. The truth is out there, not like in the X-Files, but only for those who seek it. That's a huge responsibility, and congratulations for undertaking it starting today. Descartes' scientific and philosophical contributions in the middle years of the 17th century were extraordinarily important for making human beings the responsible center of knowledge. And they paved the way in the 18th century for Enlightenment thought, still the foundation for Western modes of law, argumentation, empirical observation, and democracy. That thought reached one of its most eloquent articulations in the words of Immanuel Kant, and I quote, "Enlightenment is people's release from their self-incurred tutelage. Tutelage is the incapacity to use one's own understanding without the guidance of another. Such tutelage is self-imposed if its cause is not lack of intelligence, but rather lack of determination and courage to use one's intelligence without being guided by another." That's pretty heady stuff. In fact, Kant boiled down his thought to two simple words in Latin: sapere aude, dare to know. So you've taken the first step in daring to know. You've come to college. But how do you keep from putting yourself in a position of tutelage as you listen to your professor's wisdom and succumb to the temptation of simply spitting it back to them? Because you're going to do that. Think for yourself. Ask questions all the time. Visit your professors in their office hours and, sorry, faculty, don't believe your professors just because they're professors. This is not about faith. It's about knowledge and understanding. Not participating in class is like not participating in food. You're starving your intellect because thought is a social animal that thrives and reproduces only in the contact of more and more thought. You will have acceded to truth when you realize that you don't need your teachers anymore, when, to quote Kant, you possess the determination and courage to use your intelligence without being guided by another. And then you'll wonder, why did I pay all that tuition? So here comes the part where the old guy gets to give you gratuitous advice. Number one, dare to keep in mind that how you do each thing every day is how you do everything. If we're pattern matchers, we're also creatures of habit. If you skip class, you're the one who later on will skip work and do other things in a half-cocked way. Train yourself not only to go to class, but to speak in class, and from the very first day. If you don't, you're the one who's going to fade into the background in all sorts of situations. If you're shy, get over it. And remember that most people feel exactly the same way you do. As an aside, I hate speaking in public. Do something that scares you every day. Number two, dare to distinguish yourself and make it clear who you are, how you think, and what you bring to the table. That will be handy when you're looking for a job and you can tell employers precisely why they should hire you. Remember, 30% of the population nationwide, ages 25 to 29, has a bachelor's degree. And here in Dallas, it's 50%. So you must distinguish yourself in what you do, how you do it, how you think, whom you help, and what you produce. Number three, dare to be offended by the thoughts and positions of those whose values differ from yours. Indeed, seek those people out. I don't know how we got into this noxious state of only listening to people who agree with us, but learn to listen to things disagreeable. And when I say listen, I don't mean simply to wait to talk. I mean to listen to what they're saying. You'll learn much more about others and about yourself. It won't kill you, and remember, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Number four, dare to fail. Ask any successful person in just about any line of work where they've learned the most, and I'll wager they'll tell you it was from a significant failure, where they reached high and missed the mark. If you're hitting a bullseye every time, you're simply standing too close to the target. Don't be a better version of the person you were when you came here. Create the one you want to be. Carthago delenda est, Carthage must be destroyed, and your Carthage is the fortress you've built around yourself. The year you were born was an extraordinary one. The world was in a frenzy. People relied on superstition, tossed reason to the dustbin, and screamed rather than reasoned, and all because a bunch of zeros lined up. I guess what I'm saying is, don't be one of the zeros who lines up. Make your meaning, dare. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean DiPiero, for those inspiring remarks. Now, as your Provost and Chief Academic Officer here at SMU, I'm convinced that one of the most important duties of this office, and indeed all associated with the university, is supporting the full engagement of our students in the university community. Each student, faculty member, administrator, and staff member at SMU shares a responsibility for building an academic community that creates, expands, and imparts knowledge through scholarship, creative activity, teaching, and service. All of that shapes world changers who contribute to their communities and excel in their professions in a global society. SMU is a community that cultivates principled thought, develops intellectual skills, promotes an environment emphasizing individual dignity and worth, and a community that affirms its commitment to academic freedom and open inquiry, and to moral and ethical values and to matters of faith. And now to present this year's entering class, I call upon Elena Hicks, Dean of Undergraduate Admissions and Executive Director of Enrollment Services, and the person that brought you all here to us today. Lena?
President Turner, Provost Corral, trustees, deans, faculty, administration, staff, alumni, parents, and guests. It is my great pleasure to be with you today on behalf of the Office of Undergraduate Admission and the Division of Enrollment Services to formally introduce you to the entering fall class of 2018. This class is made up of freshmen and transfer students who have indelibly marked their educational journey in two particular ways: by standing up for people, issues, and beliefs, and standing out in their academic rigor, as well as their dedication to their community and family. These themes have carried over from prior classes, but this year in an even greater way. In admission, we pride ourselves on extolling the virtues of our entering class, not simply by the numbers, but by the people and their impact on the world. But if you will indulge me, the numbers are significant enough, impressive enough, that I'd like to share a few of them, along with some meaningful quotes that underscore those numbers quite well. These are the ways this class stands out. There is one number that comes up over and over again, and that's the number 1. And here are 3 examples. This is the largest entering class in the history of the university. This is the most rigorous class for SMU as it pertains to superior academic credentials. This is the most ethnically diverse class in SMU's history as well. Jimmy Carter once said, "We become not a melting pot, but a beautiful mosaic. Different people, different beliefs, different yearnings, different hopes, different dreams." 820 different high schools and 107 different colleges worldwide are represented here today. 44 different states sit in this room with the top states of Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, Connecticut, New York, and Georgia. And in this room, there are 25 different foreign countries leading with China, Honduras, Vietnam, Taiwan, South Korea, and Canada. 79 students are forging a different path by being the first in their family to go off to college. Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, "Fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you." Here's how this class stands out in that regard. Carson started his own nonprofit, Carson Cares. There are 1,500 volunteers raising money for domestic abuse. Ian has his own shoe resale business selling rare sneakers, which raises money for charity. Laura carried an ice chest of corneas for more than 6,600 miles so her father could perform eye surgeries on those in need in Fiji. Brady started a club of 200 people who have raised $300,000 to find a cure for spinal muscular atrophy, a disease that affects his best friend. And Emma created a Better Birmingham, which connects high school students to volunteer opportunities around her city. This class fights for the things they care about. Leadership to me means duty, honor, country. It means character, and it means listening from time to time, said George W. Bush. For 11 of you in this class, that leadership came in the form of service to our great country. Thank you for your character and service, and thanks for listening and heeding the call. The list of exemplary attributes could go on, but as I sum up what this entering class of fall 2018 means to me, I think of this final quote from Martin Luther King Jr. "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education." To you, my dear students, I say, keep up the good fight. We are counting on you, your intelligence, your passion, and your drive to make our community and our world a better place. You are off to a wonderful start. And just like the people I have quoted today, Jimmy Carter, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, George W. Bush, Martin Luther King Jr., all of whom have stood on this very stage in McFarland Auditorium, you bring us hope, and you bring us great promise. Welcome to the Hilltop. Now it is my honor to present the entering class and the opening convocation registry to President Turner. I asked Chief Marshal Tom Fomby to join me on stage with the convocation registry that has been signed today by the faculty and residents representing each of the 11 residential commons. Will all new incoming students please rise and remain standing? President Turner, on behalf of the Office of Admission and with my deepest gratitude to the faculty, staff, and alumni, and other members of the university community who have helped bring these students to the Hilltop, I present the entering class of Southern Methodist University for fall 2018. Their faculty and residents have noted their presence today in the convocation registry.
Thank you. We have a number of things that we want you to repeat if you agree to them as we go forward. I welcome you into our community of learning and give you the following four-part charge. Number one, be mindful of the privileges and responsibilities of citizenship at SMU. Second, be engaged in the community and be aware that the diversity of backgrounds among you is one of the valued strengths of SMU. Number three, be diligent in your pursuit of the academic goals that brought you to us. And number four, be committed to avail yourselves of the incredible resources now before you, both on campus and in our broader community. If you're willing to accept these responsibilities of being in our community, please say, I will. I will. Dean Hicks and Chief Marshal Kwambi, I'm pleased to accept the entering class of 2018, and now I proudly sign the opening convocation registry for this particular class. Congratulations to our new students, and thank all of you for being here today. You can be seated, please.
Thank you, President Turner. The building we are sitting in today, McFarland Auditorium, was a gift to SMU by Robert McFarland so that we might have a center for our collective life and so that we could also serve the cultural needs of North Texas. One of the university's treasured possessions is the original fire curtain of McFarland Auditorium. On the curtain, dating from 1926, is a painting of the Ovilla Methodist Church, a church attended by Mr. McFarland, who had also contributed to the curtain. The curtain was first lowered at the auditorium dedication. Today, at the conclusion of our ceremony, we lower it in your honor. This curtain, this auditorium, served to remind us of those who have gone before. And as an apostle reminds us in his letter to the Hebrews, we are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses who circle us about. As of today, you, the entering students, join SMU's past as you prepare to be part of our present and our future. And now, with the entire audience, please stand for the singing of the university's alma mater and for the benediction, which will be delivered by Assistant Chaplain Betty McCone. The words of varsity are found inside your program. We will be led by the Meadows Convocation Chorus. Following the benediction, we ask our entering students and their guests to remain standing for the recessional. After the recessional, you will be dismissed by the Chief Marshal. Upon exiting the auditorium, you'll be greeted on the historic main quadrangle by the sounds of the Mustang Band, led by Director Don Hopkins. And if you're a member of the Mustang Band, you may now leave to take your place with the band.
To arrive here today, you developed your talents and nurtured your potential, but talents and potential you yourself did not create or earn. Instead, you embraced the gifts you had already received. That was your part. This day, this place, this opportunity is another such gift. It is a benefit conferred upon you by others. Generations of learners before you sought out the knowledge and honed the skills that will be offered you here. Others better known to you have loved, supported, and directed you along the road that led you to this place. You cannot repay them, but you can receive their gifts with gratitude and use those gifts to become a blessing to the world. God of mercy and of wisdom, we thank you for the many gifts freely given us. We pray as we step from this hall into an open future that we might receive all that is before us with thankful hearts, diligent minds, and generous spirits. Gracious God, we have been given much, so prepare us to give. Amen.